Should all acquaintance be forgotten and forgot to mind? We'll drink a cup of kindness for the sake of all lang syne. La 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 Should all acquaintance be forgotten and forgot to mind? We'll drink a cup of kindness for the sake of all lang syne. La 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 la
It says we're on the air.
What's up, y'all? Aloha, and how y'all doing? Happy New Year! It is 2025, and this is the first Coconut Wireless of the year. Let's. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. Again, it's our first show of the year, and I have none other than Uncle Charlie with us tonight. Aloha, Uncle Charlie. How you doing? Happy New Year, my friend.
Same to you. Happy New Year to everyone out there in Facebook land. It's great to be back. Miss you, my brother, but we've got to, we got to move. We got to move forward with 2025. 2024 was just a fond memory.
Well,
So,
ups and downs, ups and
yep,
downs, ups and downs.
yep.
So, but anyway, it is 2025, and lots to talk about. For all the viewers out there, I would love for you guys to drop your New Year's resolutions in the comments. So let's have some fun tonight. Uh, and if any of you started your resolutions on January 1st and had already ended, we like hear about that too. I told myself, as I do every year, that January 1, I'm going to start exercising, and it's January 3rd, and I never start yet. So, oh, what the heck? What the heck? Hello, Susan. Kehao, Mountain View, Big Island, Ambernette Rivera. Welcome to the village. Welcome to the village. My sister Sandy is on. Happy New Year, Sandy. Last
Yes.
night, no, not last night, New Year's Eve, we usually go to my brother's house. My brother Gerald, we go to his house in Puhi, and we were in Texas for like 10 days for Christmas, and we had just gotten home on Sunday, and we were exhausted. Patsy wasn't feeling well, so we stayed home and absolutely did nothing. Did nothing. Um, but it was nice. It was nice to just hang out, and I know, Charles, you have a lot to talk about regarding the fireworks issue, but that was one of the things that um, the bombs, these things that are happening, um, and it's Wailu House Lots is not exempt. Eat less rice, try to exercise more, and better eating habits. Thank you, Abernet. I will start that tomorrow. How's that? I'll start that. Actually, I don't eat that much rice. I don't eat that much rice. But yeah, I have my eating disorder, Charlie, and I think you know this already, and I think most of you that know me know this is I have this disorder that if I'm eating, and whether we're at a restaurant or at home, I as long as get food left, I'm gonna eat them, Charlie. I just even if I'm full, and I'm being totally serious. I never had this problem before, but it's like I feel like I gotta finish everything. That's that Patsy get you never finish hers. I will. I mean, it's horrible. It's a horrible disorder, and I cannot get over it, man. Damn. What's up,
Well,
Keith?
so anyway, for me, Brother Mel, a couple weeks back, I came down with this. I guess it's cold, and I just wanted to make sure it didn't get into my chest. So I went to go see the doctors, and do the blood work and all that, your blood pressure, your weight, and surprisingly, I think when I started last year, I was up to almost 340 pounds, and 2 weeks ago I'm down to 300 or 299.
Wow. Charlie, is that for real?
Yep.
You carry it well. I mean, you don't look like you're 200 pounds. You don't. You know.
Yeah. So I'm very blessed and I'm grateful, and but I think I don't recommend to everybody because of the job. I eat one meal a day, and that's not good because I find myself, especially if I can have a balanced breakfast and maybe skip lunch and then have an early dinner, then I don't have the body aches. But when you only eat one day, oh, my body is just sore all over, and I
Yeah.
know when something's happening. So do
They
it
say
correctly, gang. Do it correctly.
they say breakfast is the most important meal. Dwayne, all the way from Howell, Michigan. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. I love food. I mean, what can you say? I just love food, and it is whatever. I'm gonna try. I was gonna bring on banana. Patsy gonna probably run in here and bring on banana. And the holidays is the worst in Texas. If you guys know Texas, it
Everything
is
is everything
right.
is good.
Everything is big and everything is good. And my daughter and her boyfriend. By the way, how you like my hat, man? I gotta take this off with you. Check this out. I got this. They got me this hat, official Texas hat for Christmas. My daughter Nikki and her boyfriend Jacob. Perfect fit. This thing is so nice. Damn. I just need the horse now. I just need the horse. But Patsy not letting me get a horse. So uh Deborah Michioka Thompson. Oh, I missed one. I'm sorry. Roxanne. Deborah. Happy New Year, you folks. All of you. Paul. Damn, we get some people we haven't seen in a while on the show. So Charlie, you gotta make sure you're interesting tonight because we got a lot of names we haven't seen in a while. We have a lot of yeah. We're gonna like I said, 2025. 2024 was a crazy year. I think lot of ups and downs. Like I always say though, we get so much to be thankful for, and we always got to think about those that are less fortunate because they are. You see this now. That population is growing here on Kauai. Um, So we gotta be mindful of that, and wherever we can help, we gotta. Joanne, Connie, aloha and welcome. My sister says I gotta move to Texas to get my big land, and you can get your horses. Yeah, yeah. Diamond Garcia, awesome. Thank you for joining us. Mark Domingo, Steelers
Hey,
baby,
Mark,
Steelers baby.
I saw your lovely wife at her workplace today. I told her to make sure to say hello to you, brother Mark. You know, I felt really bad because last time I was escorting the governor at the from gate 3 to the curb, and Mark was in the holding room. And normally I would stop and talk to him, but I was trying to expeditiously get him out of the crowd and into. So, yeah, we did. We moved him pretty fast. So, but I'm
He
sorry,
was
Mark.
he was here yesterday. The governor.
Oh, no. This was last week.
Yeah,
Last week.
yeah. I was on Oahu yesterday, and for the villagers, you all know the relationship I had with the governor back in the day. I mean, I kind of beat him up a little bit on the show, and we've since made up, and we're actually pretty good friends right now. But I talked to him yesterday at the Honolulu Council inauguration. I sat right next to him, and the lieutenant governor. But we had a chance to talk about what was going on, the tragedy in Oahu regarding the fireworks, that massive accident, um, and we'll get into that a little bit. Rosie is all the way in Tennessee. I can't believe it's going to be
Hey,
3 years here in a
bro.
couple of days from Oahu. Wow, I didn't realize you moved to Tennessee, Rosie. You know,
What part of Tennessee, Rosie? What part of Tennessee?
I've,
Please let
I've
us
been
know.
to Knoxville, and Knoxville, Tennessee. When I was in the military, I went to a training course at Knoxville, Tennessee, and I got to tell you this, and I mean this. Knoxville, Tennessee people, and I didn't get outside of Knoxville, but wherever I went in Knoxville, Tennessee,
Okay.
the people were just like Hawaii. I always say that Tennessee, at least Knoxville, I cannot speak for the whole state, but I would assume it's the same. That that's the only other place that has that aloha spirit where everybody cares and treats you nice. Clarksville, I'm not familiar, but she says it's 37 degrees outside.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know.
Well, I was in Tennessee for a while, over in Pigeon Forge. That's sort of like Branson, Missouri. They turned that 3 to 4 mile stretch into a entertainment mecca. That's where Dollywood is located.
Oh yeah,
Way
yeah.
long time ago, before Dollywood, it was Porpoise Island.
Porpoise Island.
Yep, the whole group of us from Kamimia School during the summer would go there because the animals, they'll bring the animals up from Biloxi, Mississippi,
Wow,
marine land, and we'd perform up there, Hawaiian stage show and so forth. And
nice.
and so on our off days, I didn't know that uh, Pigeon Forge was a dry county. Well, that's what they say. You can't find one drop of liquor. Then you go upwards. You got Sevierville on one side, and then you got Gatlinburg on the other side. And what we used to do is we used to drive into Gatlinburg to go into North Carolina. And I used to see these Indians, huge, and they look just like Hawaiians, but they stand 6'7", big buggers,
Yeah, they don't
and
they
real
grow
soft.
big.
They, yeah, huge. And so that was my experience in Tennessee.
Yeah, I had a blast over there. Blanche, thank you for joining us tonight. Deborah, I agree. She went to UT, University of Tennessee. Lovely people and yum food, exactly. Yeah, it was a great experience. Knoxville, Tennessee. I also was in Branson, Missouri. That's another nice place. My good friend lives up
Yeah.
in Branson, and Biloxi, Mississippi. There's an Air Force base over there as well. So what a small world.
Hmm.
But 37 degrees, Rosie. No, thank you. No, thank you. In Texas, the weather was so nice. During the day, it was in the 70s, and at night it got into the high 50s, low 60s. So it was perfect weather, and yeah, we had a good time. So, where's your resolutions, folks? What's your New Year's resolutions, and how serious are you on keeping them, or have you just not even made a resolution because you know you're not gonna get it done? I know I gotta lose some weight. I gotta lose about 15, 20 pounds. So that's my New Year's resolution. I'm not gonna say how I'm gonna do them because I don't know yet. But I asked Bernard Cavallo, former Mayor Bernard Cavallo. He lost a lot of weight. I said, bro, how you do that? He said, it's simple. Instead of eating five lao laos, I only eat two now. Portion control, portion control. But the food is so good. Roxanne, you with me, girl? Losing weight. Yes, that's my
Exactly.
yeah. Let's do that, Charlie. Let's do that. I am about 215 now, so I got to get down to about 195.
Well, I
Um,
am. My goal is to get that last 10 pounds. As you know, I had open heart surgery, and my heart is doing really good. But I noticed that when I get probably when I start losing a little bit more weight, I get real sluggish. I just don't have enough energy.
when you lose weight?
So yeah, when I start, my body has to get adjusted.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I feel it, boy, and it's not fun. But you know, again, it's just I just gotta watch the intake, and I can't seem to remember when was the last time I drank a beer, but I haven't drank for I don't know how many
Well,
years already.
maybe next week, Charlie, we should just.
No, 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 no,
I mean, we can just we can
no.
we can have a little night out virtually. You have your beers in your cooler, I'll have mine, and we go live for like 3 or 4 hours.
What we can do is I'll take a beer bottle and I'll fill it up with green
No,
tea.
no, no, that's not
Yeah.
gonna be fun. No, no, seriously, let's get drunk in the village. Let's have all the villagers grab your favorite beverage and let's just get all drunk. Yeah, next week. Next week, let's do that. Next week.
Yeah. I don't need drink to get drunk. I'm just naturally cuckoo something.
By the way, guys, last Wednesday we went on because we had Hoku. I don't know, was that Wednesday? But anyway, Charlie plays music at Troy's. So if you haven't been there, guys, you guys got to stop by Troy's if you're on Kauai, and go stop at Troy's on Wednesday nights and go check out Charlie and his group. Uh, it's fun. You will laugh. You have so stomach. See, look at Keith. Keith says, "Let's drink."
Yeah.
And then here comes our sweet dear friend Melissa. Uncles, no, no, no. Happy New Year, Melissa. And again, condolences out. I saw, unfortunately, I had really planned. I wanted to go to the Big Island to go to your dad's funeral, but I was not able to make it. But I did see the photos and the posts. So yeah, condolences out to our sister Melissa, who is in Washington State.
Yeah.
Um, just recently lost her dad unexpectedly. So prayers, 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 and
Yes.
he is at peace. And he's your newest guardian angel, newest guardian angel.
Well,
So Charles, I saw a
yes.
couple of your posts
Hmm.
regarding that tragic fireworks.
Hmm.
I don't even want to call it an accident because and it was such a preventable thing, and I don't want to I don't want to I I don't want to be tasteless, but let's not. It's not about that incident. It's about this whole fireworks discussion that we're having. It's been happening for years,
Hmm.
and the argument is the culture. It's a cultural thing, and I agree 100%. I think that, especially here in Hawaii, with our the multitude of Asian the demographic, the Asian demographic, that it is part of the culture, and but the culture, Charlie, is not freaking aerials and bombs. The culture was the little red firecrackers that you put out. The roll and the ba 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 brah. That's the culture, right? To to scare away the evil spirits at the strike of midnight, so that you can ward off the evil spirits for the next year. That's the culture. The culture isn't having these fire bombs, these cakes, they call it cakes, these compacted, it's bombs. It's what it is. That's not the culture. That was never the culture. And we had a tragic incident in Honolulu where several people lost their lives. You had another separate incident. I just saw in the news yesterday. Another person was killed. You had
23-year-old.
multitude of and again, as I was saying, I talked to the governor yesterday who had made a visit to the hospital to visit or to go see what was going on, and he was describing to me quite graphically what he saw at the hospital. So I'm not going to get into that. I don't want to talk about that. But that discussion, we need to have that discussion as far as what is the culture, what is appropriate, because again, bombs are not appropriate, and when you mess around with that kinds of stuff, uh, I was talking to I had a meeting with a gentleman today, and we got onto that subject, and I didn't think about this, but it's so true. What he said was, he goes, the fact of the matter is that whatever materials that was used to create these illegal homemade fireworks, again, these are not fireworks, these are bombs. If we cannot stop that from coming in, right, where the average citizen down the street can put together something like that and create so much devastation, what are our professional terrorists capable of doing here in our state as far as getting access to these ingredients to make these bombs? If the guy down the street can do it, can you imagine what the terrorists, the actual real terrorists, can do? My point is this, Charlie. It is not. We are not safe. This is. I don't want to. We don't have a. Our border is the ocean, right? We separated by ocean, but we cannot control what comes in, whether it's fireworks or drugs or whatever the case may be. The issue isn't about passing new laws and making it a Class C felony or a Class B felony, because what the hell? We get Class A felonies, the people still gonna break the
I'll
law.
tell you right now, Mel, what we need, and that's why today I was very disturbed with the new director of the Department of Law Enforcement, because I heard it before. You know, kudos to you taking 100, 200,000 pounds off the street. But if you look at these amateur drone uh, individuals with drones flying over downtown Honolulu, it almost seemed like in every block there was some type of aerials. So you may have missed my recent posting in Facebook. I brought up the fact that, and I'm sorry, I think I replied to someone. I said, if basically what happened and all these fires going off, do you know that we actually gave Al Qaeda the game plan on how to attack us? And the best way to do it is on New Year's Eve, because the professionals that's supposed to be going out and looking for this stuff, they're like, it's the culture. Okay, so what distinguishes between a weapon of mass destruction and a regular aerial firework? So just imagine what happened at that home. You multiply that by 10. Just multiply it by 10. You will see the devastation caused. So that's what upsets me, is that in order to fight this, okay, and I remember this a long time ago when I first started off in traffic. A good friend of mine, Chucky Hirata, okay, he was my lieutenant, and he told me, remember one thing, Charlie, DUIs, they dime a dozen. You don't have to park in front of a bar to catch one. You're going to catch them. But you got to have the desire to go out and look for them. Not drive and see one guy swerving past you and let him go. You need to go check. And that's, a lot of people say the same thing. It's guys working on the docks. They know this stuff coming in, but they're part of the problem too. And so, there's a lot of blame to go around, but as long as this continues, because I'm going to tell you this, and I'll say this with certainty, at the airports, we get our okoles if something comes true. And so that's why everybody, I never thought I would be in a job that you on so much pins and needles, because my job is to make sure that the airport is safe. Period. And so that's why we're kind of looking at our waterways now, and it's not only like Matson or Young Brothers. It's the boats that go across the Pacific, because when they come into Hawaiian waters, there is no port of call. There's nobody go out there that greet them to let them in. They just come straight in.
Mhm.
So these are the kind of stuff that we really got to pay attention to. And
Yeah,
so that's why when the director again said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna put a special task force." How many task force do you want? It's bad enough you don't even have enough sheriffs. How many task force do you want? You got to get people. You got to get your team that really has a desire. Hey, like you said this before, if you want to get rich, don't work for the state. But if you want to make a difference, just tell yourself you're not going to get rich working for the state, but go out there and make a difference. And that's what we got to start doing. We got to start making a difference.
yeah. Momi asked about taking the property away. That was a discussion I had with the governor, and he was hesitant because he said he thinks it's too harsh. So I don't think it's too harsh. I think if you are the party that brought in this illegal fireworks, if you decided to go and make your neighborhood unsafe, I mean, yeah, do the forfeiture. That's available for those illegal game rooms. The public nuisance law. If the county or the state can prove that you were using that property, yeah, they can forfeit it. I believe that, yes, that's the deterrent. If you want to go bring it in, and do that, then you take the risk of losing your property. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. But Charlie, it's like you just said, right? This whole task force. It was great political speech when they came out and said we're going to create a new task force, and they did, right? They got a new director or whatever department, agency, whatever it's called, and yeah, they made a couple of big busts. But when you talk about that drone shot over Oahu, over Honolulu, and the skyline, it looks almost fake. It's like AI, but it's not. That's real. That all of
Yeah.
those aerials. How can we? How can all of those aerials have gotten into the state? And
No,
it's
Mel,
crazy.
I will say this, okay? We've got so much dog handlers in the state willing to put their dogs to work. Why don't they? I mean, you look at the airport, we get small little Jack Russells, right, trained to sniff out fruits, and those
Termites.
dogs, yeah,
Termites.
and the dogs and those little things are so happy because they don't know, they think it's playtime, right? Let these dogs just go through the containers and just let them have fun.
And then prosecute them federally on the other side. The people that are shipping the stuff over should be prosecuted. The people that
Yeah.
are accepting it should be prosecuted. But a law that's not enforced, no sense pass the law. I guess that's my
And
point.
and and here's another thing. So when that you mentioned that posting that I had, right? When I first put it up, I may have sounded kind of facetious when I said it, but what I was trying to get at is when you buy something, right? You don't know who made it. You don't know if it actually works. You're just assuming that when I put it into a pipe and light it, it's gonna go up. Well, sorry, gang. Sometimes things don't go up. So whereas everything that we do when you build a house, you got to get on safety inspector. You got to do this. You got to make sure that everything is in compliance. There's nothing about fireworks.
Yeah.
And every time, and so I got into a debate with this one person online, and I just say, wait, hold up, okay, hold up. Why is it that on pyrotechnic show they make you stay several hundred yards away from the blast site? Because they know that if you're outside of this cone of destruction, if something goes wrong, you're not going to get hurt. Period. So
Yeah.
I'm just one saying, if you had a family house, you like set off an aerial. Hey, brother, Go take them far, far down the road and shoot them off. You like, just so if something go wrong, the thing don't land by everybody that's partying under the tent or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But no, you gotta do them right there. I think to myself, did everybody have a chance to run? No, was too
Not in that
fast.
one. Not in that case,
Yeah,
man. That,
was too
that
fast.
that's just horrible. It's horrific. And Cherie, nobody monitors the Princeville Airport. That's a private airstrip owned by Jeff Stone. I mean, there's planes
Yeah.
going in and out of there all the time, helicopters going in there all the time. Sorry, I'm trying to. My eyes go off the screen because I'm trying to look at all the comments. There's a ton of comments. Thank you guys all for the comments. We cannot get to all of them, but yeah, again, going back to what the culture, right? Because that's the excuse, right? It's our culture. It's not the culture. This is not. The bombs were never a culture. I remember in the old days they had the bottle rockets, and that was, you know, at that time it was dangerous stuff. And the stuff that they're doing now um, is it's not just dangerous for the person that's lighting it, right? As we just saw on Oahu, this thing is devastating. It's crazy, and I don't know how. I know Melissa brings up a good point. Police departments can't handle the volume, and it's unfair to put this on them. Well, it has to fall on somebody, and I agree. I agree, and that's why the state came up with this task force, right? They came up, they spent a lot of money on this task force. I expect that task force. Local enforcement is busy. I know that, and Charlie and I both can attest to that. And the way the laws are structured right now is very difficult to go out and enforce the existing fireworks laws. I mean, unless you see it happening.
Oh, come on, Mel. We just gotta be creative when we submit the reports.
The answer the answer is you got to stop the supply from coming in. That's what I thought the task force was for. So basically, you're out there, you're using undercover, you're going out and trying to purchase these things online. You're doing all the undercover work to find out who's sending this stuff here, and then you go after them. That's what I thought they were going to do. They may have had a little success, but if you look at the skylines on Oahu and even on Kauai, Puhi, even here, our house was shaking. It was worse this year than it was last year. We got the single wall Hicks home, so when the concussion from those things shake our house, and how are they getting these things? So that's what I thought the task force was going to be doing, and I cannot believe that guy calling it a success. 200 some odd thousand pounds. I mean, that's a lot, but that's minuscule compared to what was going off on Oahu.
No, that's why I said it's upsetting. But I like to respond to Dwayne. Yeah, that's true. Even professionals have accidents. But I'm gonna tell you this: a professional will make sure that he has safety measures in place. Like the spectator is not within 20 to 30 feet when he sets off the aerials. He'll make sure that you far, far away. That's the point I'm trying to get at. You want to play with aerials, make sure nobody's around. You gotta compensate for that what if factor, right?
Yeah.
And like they say, what goes up must come down. That's why I remember when I first got into the police department, we respond to guys shooting their guns, shooting in the air, and we catch them. We tell them, "Hey, Lolo, what you think you gonna shoot one bullet in the air? That thing gonna float all the way into space? No, that thing gonna come down someplace." And just so happened, one of the secretaries in the chief's office called us the next day. One round came right through her living room, the roof, and landed a couple feet away from her chair where she was on the recliner. Just imagine if the thing would land straight on your noggin. That's that's instant death. But people they don't realize that.
Saleva Atisa Noi is in the house. Happy New Year's, my friend. Did I read that post correctly? Did you just have a transplant? I'm saying it because it was posted. I wish you well, my friend. We got to get you back on the
Yeah.
show, too. Yeah,
Oh, I miss Solly.
Solly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw he had I think it said he had a kidney transplant. I'm like, whoa. Or maybe he gave a
Oh,
kidney to somebody. I don't know. Uh, Makala says it does not work if the officer has to see the person detonate. Well, you build a case, you get witnesses, you get evidence. That is, I think, not every crime the officer witnesses, right? It's not. It's the same investigation. It's the same level of proof, standard of proof, probable cause. If you talk to 8 neighbors that said, "Hey, Joe Blow over there just lit off an aerial," um, what's the difference if that 8 people said the guy punched somebody? You go, "Oh, the officer never see the guy punch him, so we cannot do anything." I think that's a weak argument. I think that's just a way, you know. But it's not my call. I'm just saying, I don't believe the law is written that way. It doesn't say the officer has to eyewitness it. I mean, if that was the case, we'd have nobody arrested for murder that didn't have a witness because the victim cannot
Yeah,
talk.
yeah.
Let's see. Sorry, I'm just trying to scroll up these things.
Well, again, people, you talking about the red firecracker. That used to be the Duck brand. I used to
Duck.
be scared of that because when they brought in that other firecracker, like was like one grade less than Duck brand, you can handle that, pat pat pat. But the Duck brand was like, oh. After that, you gotta get hearing aids, man. Oh, your eardrums is sore.
Melissa brings up a good point, and again, this is when you talk about collateral impacts. When you have all the EMS, all the ambulances, all the fire guys, all at this one location, uh, and someone else down the road gets a heart attack or a stroke or
Yeah,
something. Again, good point.
yeah.
Let's see. Uh,
So, but I would like to say this. I do want to give a shout out.
Mark, respect your neighbor. I think if everybody did that, Mark, we wouldn't be having this discussion today.
I would like to send a kudos out to the EMS personnel, first responders, HFD, uh, HPD, um, all the different districts that were there. I mean, it was a sea of first responders. Everybody knew what to do, and the that's the profession we all took an oath to. We were in the police department. We're different. That's why we talk about training at the airports, active shooter. We are trained. They teach you run, hide, and fight. That's the mantra: run, hide, and fight when somebody's coming. But us in the law enforcement sector for airport security, we are trained to run towards where the sound coming from. We don't run away
Yeah,
from it.
right.
And that's the kind of stuff that I say. I looked at. I mean, I can only imagine the pain that I expected to go work. I didn't expect not to come home to my family because something happened. And so that's why it's always good. You see something, say something. I like that. I like that. I like that tag. If you see something, say. And folks, no matter how big or small, no think that one question is no question is a dumb question. Okay,
Yeah.
and if you got, let me know and let me decide what you have when we look into something. And I tell that to all the airports. Hey, the person might see something you never see them, but hey, go check it out, right? Especially when they see suspicious packages, stuff like that. You don't know. But you said something earlier, Mel, that with all these fireworks and powder that was brought in to make these bombs, right? You had to have such a large quantity. You had to have a large quantity. And now to have it shipped to Hawaii, because unless the guys would do this and they've been saving them up like little at a time, little at a time, little at a time, and then burn everything. That's why this amnesty program. And I'm not trying to be cocky about this, but I want to ask you, Mel. Okay, I'm gonna spend 10 grand on fireworks. Why I'm gonna turn them over to you and I have no problem giving them to you if you give me back 10 grand. If you're not
Yeah.
gonna give me back 10 grand, the hell with you. I'm gonna burn them.
Yeah. So I gonna give them back to you, and you going to know that I had give them to you. So now I gonna be on
Yeah,
some list in your office, and you're not gonna pay me
yeah,
for them? Yeah. Come on. Right, Charlie.
yeah,
I think I when they came out with that, I thought the same thing. Like, I can see the line of people with all their boxes of illegal fireworks saying just because I want to be a good citizen.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna happen. And whether you pay them or what, that amnesty thing is, it's like the agriculture forum, right? In the plane, who in the right mind gonna say, yeah, I'm bringing back a snake from Las Vegas, an illegal snake? Yeah, I'm bringing back a snake. Nobody gonna do that. That's like the dumbest. That I don't know how much we spend on that program, the Department of Ag program, and then we make these forms are mandatory. Mandatory, my wrinkles. They're not even. And then the backside is optional. That's the one they want to know for the tourism division. Like, yeah, let's go do their work for them. No, screw you. I'm not telling you if I bring back one snake or one tarantula or whatever the hell. It's
No.
crazy. It's just
Yeah.
crazy.
You fill out the form, and the stewardess said, "Mister,
Look at
Your Honor,
Gina's comment. Look at Gina's
yeah,
comment.
no, try this. I'm on the plane. Stewardess comes up to me, right? He says, "Sir, you need to fill out your form. And by the way, why are your lips blue?" And a young big python wrapped around my neck, choking me to death.
Damn.
I'm sorry for making fun of this guy's stuff, but
No, I mean, the tragedy. We gotta learn, and we gotta do better. And again, I'm a firm believer that you can, if you treat the symptoms of the problem, you're not going to solve the problem. You can treat the systems. I mean, the symptoms. You can go arrest people. You can confiscate stuff, but as long as that flow is coming back, coming into our state, whether it's drugs, fireworks, whatever the case may be, as long as the supply is coming in, you're gonna have people, you're gonna have customers because it's money. It's big freaking money, and that's the. It's funny how the people like legalize marijuana, right? Yeah, we should legalize marijuana because of the money. Would that argument be the same for like aerials and bombs? Yeah, we should legalize that too, so we can make money. No, it doesn't work that way. The fact of the matter is we are a lot we are allowing people to make this damn bombs available to our local residents who have no intention of hurting anybody. I mean, let's get that straight. This family, whoever was in that house doing this stuff, wasn't there with any intention to hurt someone. They were in fact probably trying to have the best New Year celebration ever. But when you're playing around with these kind of things, like you said, Charlie, the professionals. I was watching the morning news this morning on Channel Two, and they had the two people, professional fireworks people, a guy and a Wahini, and they were explaining how they set up the perimeters and how, the difference between the commercial grade aerials and this ridiculous ones that these guys are buying. Those professionals, they launch very high in the air, where these ones that you see around the town is not high in the air, and so there's just a big difference between the two types.
yeah,
So
exactly.
when we allowing these things to come in and allowing our our citizens to go try to put out a nice fireworks show and then something like this happens, it's just sad. And it's so preventable. Um, it's horrible.
No, it's just like when you have people over. I know my brother does it. I do it. You have people over and you're doing one hibachi, right? And I know gonna get kids at the party. I make sure I tell everybody, hey, watch your kids. I don't like them to get too close to the kettle. The kettle is hot, right? Because
Hmm.
the last thing I like is when baby get burned. Because baby's gonna be baby. They're gonna be nearly. They're gonna like touch. And because they don't see the flame outside doesn't mean the kettle ain't hot. You know what I mean? So I think that's why, and I know that's why a lot of these professional pyrotechnic shows that they do, these uh, they always have an explosive person on the crew, making sure that everything is tied up before they start setting them off. Make sure that the red wire go with the red wire and the black wire go with the black wire. There's no crossing. Um, in any profession, even electricians on a pole, before they decide to re-energize the pole, they're going to get the safety officer going there and making sure that everything was connected right. Because the last thing they like is turn on the power and what? Zap people. That's why they tell you that if your house is hooked up to a generator and you're on blackout, they kind of want you to say, hey, we're going to have people working on them. Try to turn off your generator because we don't like you energize the lines while they're working up there, right? So there's always that safety factor involved, and I can't stress that enough. But again, when you see the head of the Department of Law Enforcement saying that this, I mean, he made it sound like this is going to be the fix all. If that was the case, last year he said that when he got
Yeah.
confirmed, he said that then. So what? Every year you're going to say, yeah, yeah, we're going to get them this time. We're going to get them this time. Then about 50 years from now, we won't be, you know, where we're going to be. Did you get them yet? Did
No,
you get
I
them?
mean, this year was worse than last year, and I not just this incident. I'm talking overall. I mean, I saw personally here on Kauai in Wailo House Lots. I mean, it was worse this year than it was last year, and we we put in this new task force, and like I said, they made a few big busts. A majority of that tonnage that they confiscated wasn't like a lot of different busts. It was small number of busts. It's like fishing, right? You can go out on your
Yeah.
fishing boat today, and you can come across the pile, and you can hanapa. You can come home with a lot of fish, uh, and then the next weekend you go out and you get nothing, and the next weekend you go out you get nothing. And I know this because I had a fishing boat, and that is my story. I wasn't very
Yeah.
good at fishing, but my point is that I could go out and say, "Wow, yeah, man, in the last 3 months, I got X amount of pounds of fish," but that all came from one day, and the rest of the days I went out donuts. And that's my point, right? You get this task force, they're going out, they make a big buzz, they do the press release, pat each other's on themselves on the back, but then pow, pow, and New Year's Eve comes, and there's more aerials than there was last year. There's more injuries and death than there was last year. So is it a success? Is it a success, or should we be focusing again on cutting off the supply? That has to be done with the state and the feds. There's no way the state can do that on its own, because you're talking about the ships, you're talking about the planes, you're talking about the boats, all of these things that can bring this illegal contraband, which is happening every day right now. Cherie brought up the Princeville Airport. You got all the harbors. There's nobody checking the boats when they come in any of our harbors. So until we cut off the supply, this problem will not go away. It is not going to go away. Mark my word. Mark my word.
Well, another question was posed. Well, how do we know if it's illegal or not? Well, let's put it this way: those that were found or confiscated, I really would like to know if they were obtained under the permitting system where you pay for a permit and you can get so many rounds. Because if it wasn't obtained through a permit, then guess what? It's illegal.
I can tell you, they called it the cakes, right? That's the cake is that it's the aerials. Anything I believe I don't quote me, but I think it's 12 feet. Anything that shoots above 12 feet is considered an aerial. So
Yeah.
all of those cakes are aerials. They're illegal. You cannot get a permit for those. It's illegal. The other thing that I think a lot of people don't know, and in fact, one of my friends texted me right before the show. He said, "Mel, isn't it true that the fireworks cannot be blown up on public property?" Correct. I can only speak for Kauai. I'm sure the other islands are the same, but on Kauai, you cannot pop your legal fireworks on public property. It has to be on private property. So when you drive through the streets on New Year's Eve, everybody's blowing these things up on the road. Who will
Think
put
of
the
it.
fireworks in their garage or in their
Think of
living room? I mean, come
Just
on.
think of this. Think of this, okay? Every year, we take one neighborhood on Oahu. Just say we get 100 of our friends, and each of us drive on 5,000-gallon water truck through these neighborhoods. And at 12 midnight,
Turn
we
them on.
just turn them on, and we just flood and just peel out everybody's fireworks. I mean, if they cannot get them with a special task force, then you know what? At least try with the water brigade. We gonna get them.
We take care of our own. Brother Gomes! Brother Gomes, hey, milestone coming up. I don't know if it already happened, Brother Gomes. I saw your post. Did you have your last show, your radio show? We got to have you back on our show, man. But your question, do we have an understanding of how it's coming in? I cannot answer that question. I don't know. Apparently, our director of public safety doesn't know either. But they can only come in by air or sea because you cannot drive that stuff from the mainland or from China. So, yeah, it's coming in by boat or by plane or helicopter.
Yep.
So, again, I mean, if the priority is to stay, it's like drugs, though, right, Charlie? We get more fentanyl and cocaine and everything else coming into our state. Do we really, like I said, you said they put more effort into the rhinoceros beetle, which is a bad thing. Don't get me wrong, that coconut rhinoceros beetle. But they put more effort in stopping all of those things than the drugs and fireworks. I mean, it's just the reality. So you can set up a task force, but it's not going to do
No,
anything because the supply.
you answered the question right there.
Which
They
question?
can, no, if they can catch the rhinoceros beetle, you take that task force that will catch the rhinoceros beetle and apply it to fireworks. That says, hey, think of the fireworks as a big rhinoceros beetle. Go out, go find them for us.
Yeah, I think that's right, Charlie. So when the rhinoceros beetle battalion shows up to work tomorrow, it's hey guys, new mission, fireworks. We're gonna have the fireworks now, because isn't that a priority, right? And again, Charlie, I do not want to see the cultural practice taken away. I want to make that very clear. I think the little red firecrackers, the pa 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 pa, the bomb at the end, rah. I mean, we used to call that the bomb, the little octagon that would just go. Rah. Now the bombs are literally
The
friggin'
bombs.
bombs. They're bombs that cause devastation. It's nuts. It's nuts. Oh, I tell you.
Melissa says, Uncle went in with the beetle.
He's big, frustrated. My point is this, Melissa, is if the priority is to solve this issue, passing one law and making it a Class C felony is not going to do it. It's not going to do it. I mean, you can convince yourself that you did your job as an elected official, that yeah, but the reality is that's not going to. That's what I told the governor yesterday. I said that's not going to solve the problem, Governor. We got to cut the head off the snake. That's how you solve the problem.
You know, if you're really serious about this, it will tell you how serious is enforcement. You know what you do? You pass on law. Anybody get caught with illegal fireworks, minimum 30-year prison sentence. You watch how they're going to strike them down because they're not serious. They're worrying that plenty of people going to get 30-year sentences. No, if you're serious about cutting this thing out once and for all, give them one stiff penalty. Give them one 30-year.
Right.
And try watch how these legislators going to vote. Because they're not serious about it. It's, hey, come on, guys. We already talked about firecrackers. We're talking no. Yeah, you can be talking about firecrackers, but then why did people die? They didn't have to die. So if you want to be serious about this, pass on law and make it tough. Make it tough. But this kind, when you're only going to tickle the surface.
Police, Marie, you're right. Police are outnumbered versus all the people with fireworks. You are correct. You are not going to catch 100% of the violators. But let me just say this: when we have a big event, any kind of event, whether it's a concert, a parade, they mobilize all these officers to preserve safety or keep the people safe. We really only get 2 nights out of the year. Well, maybe 3 if you count Chinese New Year. But you get 4th of July and you get the New Year's Eve. That's the 2 nights that this thing goes crazy. You cannot tell me that you cannot put together, and I'm talking to at all levels, federal, state, and county, put together some strike forces, some task forces. You're not gonna catch them all, but imagine if, like they do for DUIs, right, Charlie? The traffic unit is out in force for DUIs. They're outnumbered too. When you come out of drunks on the road on New Year's Eve versus the number of police officers, I'll tell you, the officers are outnumbered. But you make the effort. You put together these roadblocks, and you go and make some arrests. That emphasis is not there for fireworks, and that's what I'm saying. If we're just making laws and we're not going to put in the effort, 2 nights out of the year, you cannot tell me that we cannot mobilize special task force. Charlie, you and I both served on special task forces for various things.
Yep.
It's like, hey brother, it's a holiday, you working, because you know what, we're going, whatever the issue was, and whether it was protesters, whether it was whatever it was, you gotta go, and that's my point, right? If we want to, because listen, Charlie, if you, let's say on New Year's Eve, let's say 30 or 40 people got arrested. I mean, physically arrested, and got charged with fireworks violations or illegal aerials. I don't know if that guy gonna do them again next year. If they get prosecuted. So I mean, again, I'm not talking about the little red firecrackers. I'm talking about illegal aerials that are dangerous, that have absolutely has nothing to do with culture, nothing to do with culture.
Here's another thing, Mel, to consider, right? We got people that always want to see the volcano erupt, right? You ask yourself, and for people out there, ask yourself, why do you think the National Park Service keep you so far away? You can see the eruption, but you don't have to be right up to it. There's a reason for that. Your safety. Because if not, they will put the observation platform right over the caldera so you can look inside. So when the bugger shoot up, the bugger burn you on its first strike. But that's the reason why they keep you almost a mile away. Because they know that if the bugger blow, you get enough time to react and the fallout not gonna land on you. That's why this subject is so important to me, is that you wanna do it, you gotta be able to do it in a safe manner. That's why when we get these kids racing on the streets, okay, I personally think we should build out these racetracks like in the old days, right? Punine racetrack, Hawaii Raceway Park. They had outlaw night. If you wanted to take out frustration, take your car over there. But because you cut down all these drag strip, what happened? They take them out on the streets. Now they endanger everybody. That's the kind of stuff. And so, like you say, if we're gonna regulate this thing, let's make it so hard that if people see aerials, leave it to the professionals, and don't set it off in neighborhoods. Because just imagine this: old Chinatown. I grew up in Chinatown. My mom Chinese, grew up in Vineyard Street. Back then they had the old tin roof, the Totang roof, the kind of wooden houses.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine, and the Chinatown fire, this is what happened, right? The time when they had the plague. You light one house, they're so close together, guess what happened? You're on chain reaction. You burn down. That's what happened with the line of fires. You start one area, that thing went. That's why you gotta, if you're gonna do something like this, you gotta go into a safe zone. And I don't know what it's gonna take for these guys. It's just like us and bulletproof vests. How many years we went without a bulletproof vest? And how many years did it take people getting killed in the profession before they said, hey, we're gonna make it mandatory. Now you gotta wear one vest, right? Same thing.
Yeah.
They gotta make it mandatory that you gotta cut this thing out. Because if people gonna play with them in neighborhoods, then you gotta make them illegal.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think at this point it's. I mean, it already is illegal. It already is illegal. I mean, it's how we're going to attack them. How we're going. Again, for me, it's you got to cut the supply. Yeah, I'm going to shift gears over here because our good friend Kalani Kapuniai Jr. off topic, but he wants to community awareness, and maybe it can be another topic for another discussion. Kekaha having a lot of stealing.
Yeah,
Um, you know,
yeah.
Kekaha was the I don't know how to say this, but probably the last place on Kauai that still get that family connections, that family bonds. That I mean,
You don't need
that
lock your
is
door.
well now you do, right?
Yeah.
And that is what's so painful and so sore when you hear somebody like Kalani talking about what's going on in Kikaha right now. And I've seen the videos, I've seen the pictures. A lot of these kids running around Kikaha now, breaking into cars, breaking into houses, stealing stuff out of garages. Um, I don't know. I don't know what to say, Kalani. We had this discussion. The last time I was in Texas, we had the discussion on the phone. It's happening all over. It just the amount of cases that are happening in Kekaha is troubling because of that community and how close that community is, and the lack of
Mhm.
respect that these kids and adults have for that community, which is just something I've never seen before. So it's just the changing times. Um, Again, it comes down to resources and enforcement and setting up projects. Charlie, I know you know this.
Mhm.
I'm sure you were involved when I was on the force, and we had neighborhoods that was getting victimized. When you get this, the patterns were coming, and it was happening a lot, like Kikaha right now. We were put in bushes overnight, waiting for just surveillance, because we never have the technology that they have today. And that's unfortunately that's what it takes. You're not gonna catch these guys. It's just they're hard to catch. You can catch them on a Ring camera or whatever. A lot of these guys now are wearing face coverings, so you cannot really identify them. Although a lot of the pictures that I saw were identified, but these guys are really stupid. They just go right up to the house without no mask or nothing. But if we gotta, the cops gotta be proactive. The cops gotta be out there. The cops gotta have special projects. The cops gotta start being proactive. They gotta be in the neighborhoods. And I understand they're shorthanded, but at some point you cannot use that as an excuse. At some point, you cannot continue to say we're shorthanded. Like every time I contact the administration, whether it's a broken something broken at the park or a pothole, I keep getting the same response. Oh yeah, staffing issues. Well, that's not a valid excuse. You got to have a plan B. And what I see is happening out in Kikaha right now is very troubling. And my concern is because you still get that old school residents in Kekaha that will have no problem taking the law into their own hands. That is my biggest fear. And I think the patience of the residents are wearing out. And at some point, you're going to
You're
get some
talking about
issues.
you're talking about vigilantism.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about street justice because if anybody come into my house, I'm not a vigilante, Charlie.
Mm.
But I can tell you, somebody come in this house,
Oh yeah,
there will
it's
be no
understandable.
problem identifying that person because he will be here when the cops come. I mean that's just I'm sorry.
No,
So
the police. This is what they're gonna tell you. This is Mr. Iona. Can you identify the person? Yes. Okay. Describe him to me. Well, he has one broken arm. He get two black eyes. His legs still broken. Yeah, that's what happened. See, what you're saying, Mel, is that what I think should happen, and that's what the creation of the crime reduction unit was for.
right.
Because while the rest of the police officers have to go from case to case to case, you had to have a unit of maybe one sergeant and 3 to 4 guys that they only concentrate on the cases that the regular police officers cannot. They're real meticulous, intricate details, following up on eyewitness accounts. You know, try say, hey, your neighborhood down there, they get all these kids. Try go down there and try identify them. But I never seen anything happen yet. Do you know if we going? if we get on crime reduction unit started, yeah, I
I don't.
didn't hear of it.
No, I haven't heard of it. I mean, I Honolulu does.
Oh
Oahu
yeah,
does. They got. And this is the thing, right, Charlie? So we live in a time now where every everybody's so critical of police officers. Everybody has rights. No, the police officers they violated civil rights, civil rights. Until somebody come into your house or steal something, and all of a sudden, it's where the hell is the cops? Where the hell is the cops? The fact of the matter is, we don't have that many cops on the island, and so the neighborhood watch programs. I know Dom Akain in on the west side. He has a lot of these guys doing patrols. I mean, that's what it's going to take, unfortunately. But at some point, the police department's got to be responsible. But I know we're very close to where some of these kids gonna get licking. That's the reality. They're gonna get licking if they haven't already,
and that's a sad thing.
and
That's a
that's
sad.
the sad thing. That's the sad thing. It is. So yeah, Kalania. I mean, we'll follow up again, and I just wish I had a better answer, man. I just wish I had a better answer. The station commanders at all the different stations, Lihui, Waimea, and Hanalei, and Kapaa now. It's on them to put together projects. It's on them to figure out how we're going to utilize our manpower and put up special projects. I tell you, the bottom line is you got to have police presence. You got to have that police cars got to be in the neighborhood with the blue light on, driving around constantly, and the bad guys got to know that the cops are around. And I think that my guess is that's lacking. I cannot say for sure, but I gotta believe that's lacking because these guys, it's just too many of them. There's too many cases that are happening, and it's not isolated. The old car break-ins at the beaches or the trails. No, this is in neighborhoods where people are sleeping. Tua Tango, they're breaking into the professional athletes' homes too. I don't know if you saw that. It was on
Yep.
ESPN, and they broke into Patrick Mahomes' house, and they broke into, I forget, a whole list of them. So they asked Tua Tagovailoa, and he said, "Well, I have personal private security. I have for my house, I have for my family. They're in the house and they're armed. So if anybody wants to come in my house, it's not going to be pleasant or something like that," he said. But I mean, that's what it's going to come down to, and that's what's going to happen, right? It's like the fireworks thing, right? You get all these cases. You get these cases. Somebody going to break into the wrong house and it's going to get shot and killed, and then, oh my God, we got to do something about it. We got to be proactive. We got to be proactive. Anyway, whew, that was a lot to talk about, man. A lot to talk about.
Well,
I think though, Kalani, I think you bring up a good point, and maybe we got to have somebody from KPD on the show and talk about what's going on and what our residents can do. That might be a good idea. I'll work on that. And we can have someone on and share with us really what is going on. But yeah, lock your
well, brother.
doors. Buy a Rottweiler.
Yep. But I would like to, again, I just got a text from one of our good friends talking about Civil Beat having the top cop in the state talking about the fireworks. Again, it's okay to talk about it, but do you and your staff have that intestinal will to beat the beat beat the pavement as long as it will take to hunt down every single source of how it comes into the state? Because I don't even think you can scratch the surface yet.
No.
That's why, if that's why I always tell people, hey, if I made 200,000 pound confiscation of fireworks, I'm not gonna say boo hoo until I see what happens on New Year. And if I see not one arrow in the sky, then I'm gonna be jumping and say, yeah, we took it off the streets. But bro, if you get every street corner get an arrow going out and no look like I made on dead, I'm not saying nothing.
Yeah, you shut your mouth, right? You never win. It's like What last week or 2 weeks ago? Football. The guy threw 5 touchdown passes, 5 touchdown passes, and you lose the game. Is that a success? No, it's not. So don't go out and brag. I threw 5 touchdown passes, but I lost the game. It's not a win.
Well,
And you're right, Charlie.
it's
You're
just
right,
like,
man. I mean, like, I maybe they actually thought, maybe they're that ignorant. The guy don't even look like one law enforcement officer anyway. The guy, the director,
yeah.
he don't even look like where he came from. What he looked like he was on CPA or something. I don't think he was on a cop. But
He,
anyway,
he was a fit. He was a fit.
okay, well that no count. I'm talking
Yeah.
about real cop, one real cop, like one local cop. But anyway, I lost my train of thought now. No,
But
maybe they were that ignorant that when they weighed all these things and they had this thousands of pounds, maybe they thought that they got them all. Maybe they're that
well,
ignorant and they thought they got them all.
this is be interesting to know. The year before, they had about the same amount. My understanding, right? I'm just wondering, did I didn't hear anything about successful prosecutions, right? I didn't hear nothing because hey, when they, when they catch the garbage can burglar, oh, the thing hit the news.
Yeah.
Last year they confiscated all these, poundage of illegal fireworks. But did they actually follow up and follow the trail on how the thing came to Hawaii? Did they? They're awfully quiet about it, so one can only assume, they might have been sleeping at the time. They never finished the investigation yet.
That is a good question, Charlie. I will send out a
FOIA.
public records request, yes, to find out what was the outcome of those confiscations. Because I bet you're right, nothing. Yeah. In fact,
That's
a lot
true.
of those aerials probably was sold to the public. Anyway, hey, we're gonna let you guys go. It's New Year's. It's 2025. It's a new year. Just want to mahalo you guys so much, Charlie. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. The discussion was awesome,
Yeah.
and we'll be back next week. Any closing thoughts, bro?
Yeah. On a more clearer note, we just gotta stay safe. We do everything possible to take care of our loved ones, our family, our friends, and even those that you don't know. If you see danger over the horizon, say something, but make sure we ensure safety, because this is what's happening. The question is always going to come up about sustainability for our livelihoods here in the state of Hawaii, and whether those out there like it or not, tourism is our lifeline, a very big part of it. Whatever we do, we gotta show the aloha. Let's show the aloha, but we gotta show the aloha to our people returning from the mainland to Hawaii. And the first face they're gonna see is at the airports. And I always tell my folks, hey, if you're having a hard day, just smile. Yeah, we just gotta keep this up for 8 hours, but just smile. Don't give anybody one reason to make one complaint. So I just want everybody out there to just be safe. If you need help, you got a line to Uncle Mel or Uncle Charlie, and if we can help you, by all means, we will help you, and we will get down to finding answers for you if you want some answers as well. So like I said, just keep safe out there, love one another, and Brother Mel, I love you. I'm glad you back, man. Missed you, but I'm
Yeah.
glad. Congratulations on again your is it your granddaughter?
Grandson,
Your
my grandson.
grandson. Yeah. And I understand is one more over the horizon.
In about
Pretty
3
soon.
weeks. In about 3 weeks.
Well, man, God created grandparents for what reason? To spoil the heck out of
Oh,
the
yeah.
grandchildren. Just remember that.
I love to spoil them, man.
Yep.
All right, folks. Hey, again, mahalo. I don't know. This is 3 or 4 years now. We're gonna continue to do this every week. We'll have some topics every week, and we're gonna keep you guys entertained and informed and educated. That's what the village is all about. We love you guys. Short video before we go, expressing our mahalo. See you guys next week. Aloha. God bless.
Brother Mel.